Let's begin learning about applying multiple materials to a single object. We'll start by opening a new file. Click on the Application button, select Open, and navigate to the Datasets directory for Chapter 4. The file we want to load is the Chapter 4 Interior MSO01.max. Click the file name to select it, and then click the Open button in the lower right-hand side of the dialog to open the file. Let's incrementally save this so we can get back to the original file if we do something to mess up our working file. Click on the Application button, Save As, and click the Increment button to save it as a new version of the file. If it asks you whether or not you want to overwrite an existing file, click Yes. Go ahead and overwrite that file. What we're interested in this scene is the left-hand wall in our laboratory. We want to apply two different materials to this wall, even though it's currently a single object. We'll start off by selecting the wall, clicking the perspective viewport on the Wall 02 object. We're going to isolate our selected object so that we're working on this wall without anything else in our viewports. If you remember back, the keyboard shortcut for isolate selection is Alt-Q. Press Alt-Q now to isolate the selection. That hides everything else in our scene and zooms all the viewports into the currently selected object. We also now have a dialog box that allows us to easily exit isolation mode when we want to. We now have a single wall that we want to apply two different materials only on the front side of the wall. The wall was created originally as a box. The box object by default has 6 material IDs already assigned, 1 to each side of the box. This brings up the very first thing you want to do when you're working with objects that you're going to assign multiple materials to. You need to make sure you assign a common material ID to all polygons. The way you're going to do this is right-click and convert this object to an editable poly object. This will give us very good control over the next step in the editing process. We've converted this to an editable poly. Make sure the wall is still selected. In the Command panel, switch to the Modify panel if it's not already on it. In the Modify panel stack view, expand it, and select the element subobject level. This wall is only made of one element. Select the wall and you'll see that everything turns red. We could have gone into the polygon level and made sure we selected all the polygons as well. This way is just a little easier. We select all 6 polygons at the same time. Navigate down in the Modify panel until we get to the rollout called Polygon Material IDs. If that rollout's not open, go ahead and open it. There's no number in the set ID value because each polygon has a different material ID currently set. That's a good way to tell if the polygons you have selected have multiple material IDs on them. What we want to do is we want to make sure that all these material IDs are set to number 1. Click in the Set ID Value box and enter number 1. Then press Enter to accept the value. This makes sure that we're starting out with all of the polygons assigned to the material with ID number 1. It's a very good habit to get into in production because we didn't create the wall. We don't know exactly what material ID assignments are already attached to it. Exit subobject mode by clicking on the Edit Poly entry in the modifier stack. Exit isolation mode by clicking on the Exit Isolation Mode button. Press Ctrl S to save the file.